Alright, there you go.
Okay.
But basically, I lost a family member. His name was Kevin too. So
Yeah.
this year, very.
Same situation?
Same situation.
Wow,
So
wow.
I was just texting her about it. Like, wow.
Yeah, because even I went to the country for a friend's wedding, and I was staying by somebody for the day, and they were telling me about someone who had recently killed himself, like his nephew.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people deal with that.
Suicide is real, especially
it's
in the
real.
black community.
Yeah.
We don't know how to deal with it, you know?
So I wanted to kind of put some of that in the book there because at the time I was dealing with it. So that's why it's kind of so raw, like in the writing. Yeah. So that's Bishop. So basically with Bishop, he kind of goes off at that point. He's trying to deal with that situation and he makes a lot of bad decisions, and you'll learn more about that in the book. So let's see now. Okay, so there's another character in the book called Winston. And people who finish reading the book really seem to feel Winston as a character because he's sort of like a lovesick puppy with a broken heart. He had a girlfriend who's from Barcelona. We met at a party. She left DC, and they broke up amicably. But when she came back, it started unraveling him. Like he started having nightmares, couldn't sleep, and in the book you kind of start seeing why over time. So I'm gonna see if I can. Maybe I should read one of his dreams. Yeah, I think I'll read one of his dreams. Because in the book he has like I write several dreams, like that he has, and some of them are like haunting. And I think I'm gonna try to read. Yeah, I'll read one of his dreams. This is really short. Yeah. Okay. So this is chapter. Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah! In a world where men read novels and people go, yeah, time is running out. All right. So I'm gonna read this now. The streets were black and empty. Everywhere was silent, save the rustling of an unfamiliar noise in the background. His eyes opened, and in the dark he could sense her, somewhere nearby. His feet hit cold tiles on the floor, and a smell crept into his nostrils. Something familiar, something foreign. His eyes ached, and his room felt unfamiliar. His body felt light, like feathers falling off a mountain. He went outside. Not a soul to be seen. Cobblestones on the road made a grid pattern as far as his eye could see. The buildings were pastel with strange markings on them, written in a language he couldn't recognize. He walked forward, rubbing his bare chest with his arms, breathing in short breaths. 1, 2, 3. A sliver of light broke across the sky, and a sheet of yellow began to spread across everything. Rooftops, alleyways, doorknobs. The light came with no warmth, and he kept walking. 1, 2, 3, 4. The familiar sensation hit the air again, a memory just out of reach. It smelled like a warm hotel room after a long shower, a sweet mixture of cheap body wash and carpet cleaner. He rubbed his arm some more, and then felt her again. She was close, walking slowly, darting through the shadows like a wraith. He ran barefoot across the cobbled streets, with an increasing sense of fear crawling up his back like a dozen spiders. There was still no one to be seen. He only heard the roar of quietness, but she was nearby, somewhere. His feet made spatter noises on the ground, echoing like the clapping of tiny hands. Then the sky darkened and he was afraid. The shadows around him stretched out long and menacing like tendrils. They moved in ripples and frantic bulges, rapidly expanding and contracting. Then he heard a screeching noise, far away, dark and menacing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was still running, his heart a thunderous echo in his chest. Somewhere he could feel her just out of arm's reach, walking amongst the shadows. The sky was almost black now, the yellow sheet of sun fading into nothing. The rustling noise he heard before started again, streaming from every crack around him. He tried to run faster, but felt himself slow as the darkness came closer to him. He tried to speak, but nothing came. Now the sky was obsidian, and the screech came again, a piercing shriek from the depths of hell. Around the corner, a blur of movement made ice run through his arms. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The light disappeared, and Winston screamed, waking up and reaching out into the dark. He lay in bed with a pulsing erection, his heart running at a full gallop. His arms and chest were sweaty, and he could still smell that smell and feel the shadows around him. He clenched his eyes shut, gritting his teeth and grabbing his pillow with all his strength. She still felt close to him, somewhere out there in the shadows of the city, near the surface of the coming dawn. Yeah, that's that one there. This is one of Winston's dreams. What time is it now? I only started at 8 o'clock. Okay, cool. Can somebody stop that and then start the document? So a Jamaican, an Englishman, and an American go into a bar. Okay, I don't have a joke actually. That sounds like a good joke, yeah? Like two Jamaican priests walk into a bar. What kind of drink do they order? Huh? Ah, Appleton, yes. You just won nothing. Oh, I'm just kidding. Alright, so I've given you like a little bit of insight into Tony. I got really deep with Bishop. And the book, like I said now, the book is about Jamaican characters. And there is a section in the book where everyone is in Jamaica for about 45 pages. And Tony, interestingly, like, uses his time to reflect on Jamaica. And I want to read just a little piece of how he felt kind of frustrated with the way Jamaican society is. I mean, Nick is Jamaican, I'm Jamaican, but anybody else have Jamaican relations? Yeah. All right, so in Jamaica, I mean, we have, like socializing is kind of awkward sometimes. People go, they just kind of stand up, watch each other. And it's just hard to meet people. And Tony is this big socialite in the book. He has no problem meeting people in DC. But in Jamaica, it's kind of like he falls back into the shell. So he's kind of musing. So when he's in Jamaica, all he does is like muse. There's nothing about him meeting girls or anything. So I'm going to read like a quick piece of his part here. Let's see. Okay. On the streets, men lounged and idled at rum bars, cursing at each other while playing dominoes, or just relaxing on a sidewalk as music played in the background, sipping on white rum and slowly drifting into states of inebriation. These things filtered through Tony's system, making things feel slow and protracted. The dark venues, the people quietly standing up in close proximity to working hard to ignore each other, the same musical mixes and the same patterns. There is something in the air, something thick with entitlement and a sense of purpose that permeated the attitudes of people at night, a groundswell of confidence mixed with conservative behavior. It was a pulse of this island life, a place populated with sleepy days and a hemisphere that hovered within a smaller hemisphere. The customer service was brutal in some places. Harsh and rude attitudes in many situations were normal, Tony remembered. People didn't look at you and assume you were anything, unless you were famous or of indeterminate ethnicity. Hot words were just as common as hot food in pots being cooked on alternate sidewalks. Here, Tony was hiding in plain sight. Just another guy. He remembered that this vibe, no, this inkling, was part of the reason he left. There was a lingering curiosity about the outside world that burned inside him, a desire to experience a paradigm of being that wasn't filtered through the post-colonial lens. At the time, the feeling had grown and grown, till he felt like he was bursting at the seams. It was then he felt that desire to experience Americana, its statutes of randomness and culture that had been sprinkled into so much of the media he would grow to know as a youth, the silly Pauly Shore sex comedies and campy action movies. Now he knew it wasn't all lecherous women at summer camps or super spies saving the day, but it was different. This was what he found hard to manufacture at home, a day he couldn't predict. In Kingston, a man must revolve around a select number of bars and clubs because he's forced to. Men live and die going to the same bar for 30 years, and now it seemed men live and die going to the same club week after week. Yeah, that's just like a piece of that. So he, and it's like, that section for him is like a series of like basically essays on how a lot of people think about Jamaica. So, any thoughts on that? Anyone, like what you've heard so far?
Yeah, I feel like it's true.
Yeah, you understand, yeah?
I saw myself in a lot of the words.
Yeah. And the worst thing is that, Jamaica is dark, and the people are dark. So when you go into a party and everybody's in the dark, it's kind of, it's tough. You just walk up to a girl and be like, "Hi, how are you?" And she's like, "Oh my God, the shadow is talking to me. It has teeth." I'm so stupid, yo. All right, so I think like I'm gonna round it up now with I'm gonna give you like an insight into Bishop, because basically like I want to do the reading to like show people that just hear the title that the book has like more depth, So like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, as I've said. Oh, you're restarting? Good. Okay. No, because you see, sex. In a recent interview, I was like mentioning that sex, drugs, and rock and roll is where you blaze through life in like a blur of bad decisions, and then you kind of live to tell the tale. And this is similar, but it's not as extreme. I mean, people are going on edge, but the Jamaicanism and the whole DC thing, and not being rock stars is kind of like what brings it more to like a normal level. So I'm gonna read a piece of this because now Winston is a very tortured character, as you can see from his dream that I read, and he has many of these dreams in the book. And even though he meets different women in the book, he's hung up on one girl, the girl from Barcelona, and there's a point in the book where you learn something very dark from his past, which may kind of enlighten you as to why he's hanging on to lost love so much. So I'm going to read a piece of it. Alright, there was an occasion that forever remained in his mind. It was an early Saturday morning, and Winston had nothing to do. He rolled out of his bed, tiptoeing in the early morning to go outside before the twins started harassing him. They normally woke up at 11 or so, but oh, was he wrong this day? He walked past the bathroom, and the door was open. Standing naked in the doorway was his aunt. She was tall and obese, with multicolored, jelly-like flesh that shook like bread pudding with each step she took. Her breasts were long and hung to her stomach, exposing her enormous black nipples. Winston had paused in fright, but Miss Martha, she had screamed like there was no tomorrow. Winston heard something different in that scream. The monster had been exposed. She had been humiliated. He hid in the yard for most of the day while they called for him, loudly proclaiming his death. He didn't come inside. He held out for most of the day, but eventually hunger prevailed. When he came inside, he was beaten till he was bloody. Miss Martha whipped him so badly both buttocks bled and he pissed himself. Miss May had constantly pulled at his hair and ripped out little bits of it in chunks, laughing gleefully as she slapped his back with heavy hands. To cover up their crime, they had poured alcohol and salt in Winston's buttocks, covering his mouth as he screamed from the pain. That Monday, the freshly formed scabs broke in his pants when he went to physical education class. Winston was running up and down with the young boys doing football drills. Then a young man had said, "Winston shit in pants! Red shit, red shit!" The young boys had all laughed, but Winston was mortified. The physical education teacher, a tall, stern man of English descent, had sent Winston to the nurse. The nurse had examined Winston and saw the marks on his back and his buttocks. "Winston," she had said, "is someone doing this to you?" Winston had stood there mute as always. He was afraid to say anything. The wrath of his aunts was worse than the power of God. Yeah, so that's like a little piece of when he goes back to Jamaica. And you kind of get like a look into his past there. And basically I think that's kind of like what I want to convey today. Because a lot of the book is interesting bar scenarios and situations, like funny conversations and hookups. But at the same time, there are these complex layers to the various characters. And does anybody have any questions about what you heard so far? Huh? No, you don't have any questions. Yeah, by the way, she interviewed me yesterday. She has no questions to ask. She's super cool.
How much of the book is you?
How much of the book?
Ratio-wise.
No, I mean, it's not really me. I mean, there are elements of me in each character.
Okay.
But what I did was amplify the nature of the situations. So, like I said, a friend of mine committed suicide. Everybody in here is like broken up with somebody. But I mean, imagine extreme torture, like, you can't sleep, you're having nightmares, and so it's like I'm stretching that to the extreme, like, how far will this take him down that road? And with Tony, it's like, he's having fun in DC and partying and hooking up with girls, but he's very lonely. And I'm showing like increasing levels of isolation in a densely populated city. So it's like these kind of things, So I mean, like, there might be like one or two things that I'm like reading, I'm like, but you would know what it is. So it's not really all
He's
me.
not telling. He's not
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So you didn't interrupt.
It's all me. I am Vincent Wishart Tony, you know? No, but yeah, it's exploration, you know? And I think that a lot of people are telling me that they haven't read a book from like male perspectives in this way, in a big city, like multiple guys. So I don't think it's very, very common. I know there's always like the Sex and the City, the chick flick kind of vibe. And then anything involving a man is like, you know, Jack Stone takes no prisoners, you know, like, you know, something like that. So this is like, you know, not an experiment, but this was the angle I wanted to come from, because, you know, you have to write what you're familiar about. So this is what I'm familiar about with DC particularly. So anything else or no?
How was your experience in DC?
Mike?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it varied because I came here as an international student, went to Howard University, and after kind of being in that bubble, like we have a bubble there. Yeah, because even though people are like, isn't Howard a black school? Yeah, but everybody's like different, you know what I mean? So you have your Trinity people, you have your Bajans, you have your Jamaicans, you have your other islands that are small, and they usually are very angry at other people. Because the Jamaicans are like, move small island boy, you know? But then you have people from New York, LA, Midwest, Midwest, and everybody's representing hard, you know? You have the jocks, and you know, it's just a different thing. We don't really have that huge jock culture in Jamaica. So most people come in there in this bubble, where you go to the Caribbean parties, you stay on campus and hang with the same people. But then I had some issues with my transcript one time, and I was out of school for almost 2 years. And when I came back, most of the people I knew had graduated. So I found myself in a situation where I'm in this big city and I don't really know anybody. So I started going out more, you know, eating Thai food, Korean food, doing karaoke, come to places like Wonderland, you know, just different scenes. And I started meeting really cool people all over the place, and it just changed DC for me, you know. People like Mr. Nick here, we met at, I think, a Japanese house. Yeah, I think we met at a Japanese house, so. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people I know, like, you know, I think Mrs. B for Bling is also in the house. Like, I think I met her by commenting on her t-shirt. I was like, B's for Bling, and yeah, that's like what, 6 years ago. So yeah, man, it's been interesting, you know, my DC experience, and I'm glad I'm able to capture it and, you know, kind of share my like sense of it with the world, you know. Yeah. Anything else?
How do you think DC's nightlife really differs from other cities? Is there anything in particular that sets it aside?
What's different in DC nightlife?
Yeah.
I think DC has a kind of calculated nightlife. Like you have to gauge, I think Thursday through Sunday maybe, but usually it's Thursday through Saturday. So, you know what I mean? Like, so for me, I mean, I had stuff I would try and do like every other day. Like Wednesday was salsa, like Tuesday was trivia or whatever. But at the same time, in a city like New York or Tokyo, because I've lived in Tokyo, it just doesn't stop. You know, you can go out every night and just like go crazy and come to work drunk, which I've never done. But DC, yeah. No, but DC's like calculate, you know, like you have your Thursday thing, and if you like it, you always do it. And if you have your Friday thing, that's why people like Wonderland so much, you know, because it's like, I mean, there had to be at least 25, 30 times, man, like, I'm just out with people, and they're like, yo, this place is whack. What time is it? It's like 1:30, let's go to Wonderland. And then Wonderland would have like the last like 45 minutes of fun for the night, because people are used to it. But then you have like your club people, they're always on the waterfront, you know what I mean? But I wasn't a club guy, I don't really like the big clubs, you know? Yeah, so it's very calculated, but like in New York, man, I mean, yo, sometimes like the sushi bars jump in, like on a Monday at like 5 p.m. And you're like, God damn, you know? Yeah.
It's calculated and convenient.
It is though.
DC is very, very convenient as far as like jumping to one club to the next club or a bar.
It's also close.
Yes, it's really small, yeah.
Very, very small.
And it's not expensive to take a cab home too, most of the time. Yeah, that's what's good. Yeah, because I lived on First Street, and you can get most places, you can get home for like $10, $12 max. So you're right, that is convenient, yeah. And no one parties in Georgetown. Ever. Big up some of my Georgetown people. Yeah. So that's about it. Any more? You look like you had another.
No, I'm trying to think. What else could I ask?
What will she ask?
No, I think.
You good? You good?
Good, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and checking out me reading the book. So I was supposed to have hard copies here today. I'm mad at Crate Space. So angry. Books were ordered Monday. They were supposed to come Wednesday. Today is Thursday. I ain't got no books. So I think I'm gonna have them tomorrow most likely, and I'll be in the city. So if you want to get a copy, they're like $10 for the hardcover. If you want to buy it on Kindle, ebook, you can just search for it online and snag it that way. But I really wanted to like have my book and be like, I'm signing my book. What should I write? But you know what I'm saying. She's not. All right, yo, thanks again, okay?
Action.
All right, so I just finished the book reading. I thought it was really good. I wasn't really feeling nervous about it. It's my first time doing this kind of thing, but I have a naturally comedic side, and I tried to mix in my personality with the reading and expose parts of the book that I felt readers might not know about just by looking at the title and the cover. And I think I did that pretty well because feedback from people here, they said that that's what they felt. They felt like it was deep. They felt like they wanted to read some more, which is good for me. So hopefully, this is the first of many readings, and I'll catch you next time.